Hello and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Emana Amawe. Coming up on the program, Appeal Court in Benin City validates election of Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State. The problem of flooding in ASABA Delta State may soon be a thing of the past. An ANAMBRA State Governor commissions a computerized vehicle testing center. Many thanks for staying with us. Welcome to the program that brings you news from the length and breadth of Nigeria. The Appeal Court in Benin City, Edo State, today validated the election of Governor Godwin Obaseki. The president of the five-man panel, Justice Monica Dongba Mensen, held that the appeal lacked merit because the election could not be invalidated on mere allegation that the judges at the tribunal allegedly compromised their duties. Justice Dongba Mensen also dismissed claims that the PDP and its candidates were not given enough time to follow through their vote recount, which exceeded the 14 days allowed by law. The five-man panel therefore threw out the appeal and validated the election of Mr. Godwin Obaseki as governor of Edo State.
It took less than 3 minutes for the entire exercise. All they said was that we filed an appeal, they've read through the appeal, and they've dismissed the appeal, that they would make copies of their judgment available as soon as possible. So we are waiting for our lawyers to pick up copies of the judgment so that we can look through them and take the necessary step to ensure that we get justice. But let me state here that on the strength of our appeal, we are fully confident that we will have enough grounds to further move this case to the Supreme Court until we are able to get justice in this matter.
Well, the matter is already in the Supreme Court. You will recall that just like the APC filed a cross appeal, they've also gone to the Supreme Court to challenge the Court of Appeal's decision on the recounting. So the case is actually already at the Supreme Court. You know, all we want to do is to first look at the decision of the Court of Appeal here, and they know what to do, but they've already taken us to the Supreme Court already.
Well, to shed some more light on the validation of Governor Godwin Obaseki's election as governor of Edo State, our political correspondent Seun Okimba-Loye joins me now on the program. Well, Seun, it's another victory for the All Progressives Congress in Edo State. What does this all mean at this time?
It's a third victory for the APC. The first one being that they won at the election. They were declared winner at the election. You remember that at that time the PDP didn't find it funny because they believed that that election was not probably won for the APC. They believe that there are a lot of irregularities in that election. There were protests that trailed that election after the result of the election. And so there are a lot of activities that have trailed the outcome of that election. And so first and foremost, it was a victory at the polls. Then the second victory was at the tribunal when Mr. Godwin Obaseki, the governor, and the APC won at the tribunal. Then afterwards was now is another victory for the APC at the appeals court. But this is not the ball stop for both parties. The two parties have the right to still defend the mandate or the defeat at the Supreme Court. So the apex court is what they will probably be looking at. Like you heard the PDP candidate, Mr. Osage Iziyamu, saying that there are some part of that case or the matter that has been taken to the apex court. That means that there are a lot of defense to be made. There are a lot of issues to be trashed. We've seen cases where people had won at tribunal, appeals court, and they never emerge as winner at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will be the ultimate in this matter. And we've seen where people had lost in tribunal and other appeals court, but in the Supreme Court, they emerge winner. So the case is still not totally rested for now. It's halfway done. When the Supreme Court says it's final, that's when we can say, oh, finally, the governor has some respite on the issue of the debate over the governorship.
Okay, but another issue now, though the PDP says it's going to pursue other legal means, definitely it's taking it to the apex court. What seems to be the case when all the indices seem to be playing out against you? Shouldn't the PDP be looking at perhaps how to work with the government of the day at this time?
If you look at the history of both parties and both men, especially the candidate of the PDP, you will know that it's not just a battle that started yesterday. It's a battle where, in the ACN when Mr. Osage Izeyamu, you remember that he worked with former governor as SSG, as a chief of staff, before he now moved to the ACN, left the ACN, was working with the former governor, Adams Oshiomhole. He left that camp to move to the PDP, and he contested that election. To a large extent, that election was somewhat a very big political battle. The battle was not only for the PDP or Mr. Izeyamu against Oshiomhole or Obaseki. It was really a battle that went far deep into the political history of Edo State to show who is the ultimate man in this. And don't forget, Mr. Obaseki too is not standing alone. He's riding also on the shoulder of the former governor, Adams Oshiomhole, who has shown himself as a political heavyweight in that state. Yes, but look, at the end of the day, one will wonder, there are no permanent enemies in politics. You'll be surprised that these men are really not enemies. They might be enemies at the polls or at the election or at the court. But at the end of the day, it is a true test for our democracy. If you feel bad or if you feel that you have not been fairly treated by the outcome of an election, it's just only fair for you to try out your side of the case in the courtroom.
Okay, but our electoral process in Nigeria also comes to fore. The PDP candidate and the party itself says they were not given enough time to follow through the recount of their vote, and it exceeded the 14 days, which had exceeded the 14 days given by law. When things like this come up over and over again in our electoral processes, what's the way forward?
Okay, let me just remind you. The election, Mr. Obaseki polled 319,483 votes to defeat Mr. Izeyamu at that election, 253,173 votes. Mr. Izeyamu won confidently in about 15 local governments, in almost about 18 local governments of Edo State. Look, there are a lot of issues. The ballot, because when you are proving that there is an irregularity in an election, the proof will have to go down to the ballot sheets, to the ballot papers, to the process of how the elections were conducted. INEC is going to be involved. Those who are part of the election are going to be involved. It's a strenuous, it's a very tedious exercise. It's a very tedious process to prove. It's a very big matter when it comes to, and look, the law has given a window by which you can prove that case. Limited days that you can do that in a week, and the maximum time has been given by court. So it's a very difficult one to do. But if you are successful in proving that the election was rigged or was not properly conducted, or the candidates was not properly treated, it is a very tough process to do. But the Supreme Court, that's the mother of all courts in Nigeria, will be able to ascertain whether or not Mr. Godwin Obaseki is truly the governor of Edo State based on the result, or really Mr. Izeyamu is a winner at the end of the day.
So on a final note now, the governor can definitely get a little respite from this judgment.
Absolutely.
We may be looking at a cabinet being put in place in the coming days.
No cabinet yet. We understand that the governor and his party are looking into setting up a cabinet. I think I think he's taking some time for that to happen.
Does this judgment have anything to do with it?
No, I don't think so. You don't even need this kind of people. People finish election and after 1 month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they set up a cabinet. But don't forget that the governor has actually set up special assistants across almost all the major constituencies in those states, running to over 100 special assistants that he had put together. So I don't think this could in any way stop him from putting up a cabinet. I understand that the party is still considering. For a moment, I think that is taking too long.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Seun Okinbaloye, for sharing your thoughts with us.